Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sift through the noise and pull out what really matters in tech news.
And today, it's all about artificial intelligence. The pace is just incredible.
It really is. We're looking specifically at the latest news, what's hitting the headlines right now. Lots of announcements, especially around AI agents and the infrastructure that powers them.
Absolutely. The big theme seems to be AI moving from just being a tool to something more active, right? An agent.
Yeah, autonomous seems to be the key word. So let's dive right in with Microsoft. Their Build 2025 event, well, it felt like a major statement on this agent idea.
Definitely. They rolled out a whole bunch of new AI agent tools and, crucially, open interfaces for developers.
Open interfaces. What's the big deal there? Why is that significant?
Well, it signals they're trying to build an ecosystem, not just keep everything locked down. It means developers could potentially plug different AI models together.
Okay, so fostering collaboration, maybe speeding things up.
Exactly. More innovation, potentially faster development. They mentioned new research platforms, multi-agent systems for businesses, even this open language interface for websites.
And support for external AI models too, right? So not just Microsoft's own stuff.
Right. Acknowledging that good ideas come from everywhere.
And this isn't just future gazing. We're seeing it in products now. GitHub, for instance.
They launched their coding agent.
And the regular Copilot in GitHub got a big upgrade. Apparently, it can act more like an agent itself now.
Yeah, it's moving towards more autonomy. It can, create code, modify it, even submit pull requests, more or less on its own within the workflow.
That's a pretty significant step for automating software development.
It really is. And speaking of coding agents, OpenAI is in the game too with Codex.
Right, integrated into ChatGPT. What's the focus with Codex?
Similar idea, really. Automating coding, debugging, testing, handling pull requests. But they emphasize it runs in a secure sandbox environment.
Which is probably pretty important when AI starts writing and changing code.
Definitely in those guardrails.
So all this feeds into this idea of an agentic web that people are talking about.
Yeah, that's the term floating around. The idea is applications that don't just wait for you to click something, but can, think, plan, and act.
And Microsoft seems keen to be a central player in building that web.
They certainly seem to be positioning themselves that way. It's a fundamental shift, potentially, in how we interact with software. Less direct command, more collaboration with agents.
But if you have all these different agents running around, how do they talk to each other? How do they find each other?
Yeah, standardization. That's becoming a big topic. We're seeing proposals like the agent name service.
Sort of like DNS for the internet.
Exactly like DNS.
Yeah.
A way for agents to have addresses and discover each other using, simpler names instead of complex identifiers. It's crucial if this is going to scale.
Makes sense. And on the safety front, Microsoft is backing Anthropic's MCP standard?
They said they're going all in on it for safer agent deployment across their platforms, which is, probably a good thing.
And it feels like the whole industry is moving this way. Alation bought Numbers Station to boost its AI agents.
Right, and Starburst is adding AI to its data platforms. SAP has new AI tools for developers.
Even an AI store for Microsoft, but specifically for healthcare developers.
Yeah, specialized marketplaces. It all points to this momentum behind agents becoming, practical tools across different sectors.
Okay, so the agents are getting smarter, more capable. But what about the hardware? What's powering all this?
Good question. Big news from Nvidia. They announced something called NVLink Fusion.
NVLink Fusion. What does that do?
Basically, it lets other types of chips, like custom CPUs or specialized AI chips, connect directly and efficiently with Nvidia's big GPUs.
So opening up their ecosystem a bit, allowing more kinds of hardware to work together.
Precisely. It's about building these more complex, heterogeneous systems needed for advanced AI. Think of it like allowing different specialists to collaborate better on the same project.
Got it. And Dell's jumping in too, with a new platform using NVIDIA's latest Blackwell Ultra GPUs.
Yeah, promising much faster AI training. The hardware race is definitely heating up.
NVIDIA is also building servers that can handle both traditional stuff like x86 workloads and these AI agent tasks. They even called themselves the HR department for agents.
Yeah, I saw that. It shows they're thinking about not just the raw power, but also the management and orchestration of these AI systems alongside existing IT.
But NVIDIA isn't the only game in town for AI hardware, right? Intel's making moves too.
Correct. Intel's pushing its new Battlemage workstation GPUs as a perhaps more budget-friendly alternative for AI acceleration.
Competition is good, presumably. Drives prices down, spurs innovation?
Absolutely vital. More options mean more people and companies can potentially access this kind of computing power.
Now, shifting gears quite dramatically, China launched an AI cloud into orbit, satellites with computing power.
Yeah, that was quite something. An initial launch of 12 satellites, but plans for, I think, up to 2,800, each with significant compute capability on board.
Wow. What are the potential uses for AI in space like that?
Well, you could imagine real-time Earth observation, maybe more resilient communication networks, distributed computing that isn't tied to ground infrastructure. It's definitely a novel approach.
And back on Earth, OpenAI's Stargate project seems massive, building huge AI data centers globally.
Huge investment, yeah. Starting in the U.S., with the first big one being built in Texas by a company called Crusoe. But the plan seems to be partnering with other countries, too.
What does that kind of investment signal?
It just underscores the colossal amount of infrastructure needed for the next generation of AI models. And building globally suggests a vision for, well, a worldwide AI ecosystem.
This global aspect brings in geopolitics, though. We saw that with Malaysia and Huawei chips.
Right, that was interesting. An announcement about using Huawei for a national AI system. Then it seemed to be walked back a bit. It really highlights how sensitive these technology choices are becoming internationally.
And Sam Altman was defending prior deals involving the UAE and Saudi Arabia for AI chips.
It shows how AI development, chip manufacturing, infrastructure, it's all deeply intertwined now with national interest, security, and economic competition.
Okay, let's pivot to where AI is actually being used. Healthcare comes up a lot.
It does. There was a survey showing healthcare leaders see AI as key to future success, but there are also gaps in readiness.
Makes sense. But we are seeing specific tools emerging, like one to flag high risk for postpartum depression.
Yes, using AI to identify patterns that might predict risk. And places like Northwestern Medicine are actively discussing how to properly evaluate these AI tools for clinical use.
And it's not just clinical. Klarna, the finance company, reported soaring revenue per employee, attributing it heavily to AI efficiencies.
Right, optimizing operations. Eric Topol also talked about AI's potential in preventive healthcare, analyzing all sorts of data to predict diseases earlier.
There's also research focused on using RAG systems, retrieval augmented generation, specifically for healthcare. Why is that important?
Art is key for reducing AI hallucinations. In healthcare, you absolutely need the AI to base its answers on reliable medical knowledge, not just make things up. Raga helps ensure that.
Makes sense. What about other industries? Manufacturing.
Big predictions there. Foxconn's chair thinks AI and robotics will basically end the search for cheap labor as they build more AI-powered factories.
That's a bold claim.
It is. And we're seeing funding for related tech, like SenseMore raising money for autonomous industrial vehicles using physical AI.
Physical
AI that interacts directly with the physical world, like in robotics and autonomous systems.
And Taiwan seems to be a hub for this industrial AI using digital twin technology powered by Nvidia.
Yeah, companies like TSMC and Foxconn are using digital twins, virtual replicas of their factories, to plan and optimize operations with AI.
Okay, finance is another big one. AI for predicting Bitcoin prices.
People are certainly trying. AI is being used to analyze market data and develop trading strategies. There was mention of a top Chinese quant fund, Beyond, using AI heavily.
And venture capital is flowing in, too. Nick Storonsky's AI venture firm raised a significant amount, $250 million, for AI startups.
The investment continues.
Let's touch on the social side and some of the, well, challenges and concerns. Some interesting, maybe slightly worrying applications are popping up.
Like the student who built an AI tool to find and de-radicalize people on Reddit.
Yeah, that one raises eyebrows. And research suggesting AI can be more persuasive than humans in online debates.
That has serious implications, especially thinking about elections and online influence campaigns.
Definitely. And the ethical discussions are ongoing: AI, art, and human connection, AI potentially worsening inequality for certain workers. There's even a book called The AI Con trying to debunk some of the hype.
Important conversations to have alongside the technological development.
And the technical challenges remain. These AI hallucinations we mentioned, apparently it's enough of a concern that hallucination insurance is emerging.
Wow, insurance against AI making things up, that tells you something.
We also saw reports of AI bots threatening online scientific infrastructure, potentially flooding it with junk.
Yeah, polluting the information ecosystem. That's a risk.
And serious security or configuration issues, like on that platform Cibitai, allowing non-consensual explicit content generation.
Really problematic. Show the urgent need for safeguards and responsible platform management.
Even high-profile systems aren't immune. Elon Musk's Grok bot faced criticism for Holocaust denial, which was blamed on a programming error.
Which highlights the difficulty in controlling the output of these complex models, even for the companies building them.
Security firm Thales also reported AI and quantum computing threats are now top of the agenda for many organizations.
Understandable. The capabilities are powerful, and adversaries will look to exploit them.
And underpinning many of these challenges is the AI skills gap, right? Businesses need people who understand this tech.
Absolutely. That gap is apparently widening significantly, more than doubling for UK tech leaders, according to one report. It's a major bottleneck.
So finally, let's look at the developer side again. We mentioned Microsoft building a platform for agents.
Right. Aiming to be like they Google for AI agents, a central place to find and use them.
And Google itself is offering AI certifications for business leaders, even free training. They launched a standalone Android app for their notebook LMAI tool, too.
Everyone's trying to upskill the workforce and provide tools. Microsoft's upgrading its Edge browser with more AI features as well.
And all those new protocols we touched on briefly, MCP, A2A, AGP, ACP, what's the goal there?
It's all about creating standards for how these different AI agents and systems communicate and collaborate, like building the roads and traffic rules for the agentic web.
There was also discussion about whether AI should be allowed to actually architect applications. What's the general feeling there?
The consensus seems to be leaning towards, well, human oversight is still pretty critical for those big design decisions. Maybe AI assists, but humans should still be in the loop for architecting complex systems.
Makes sense. Don't want to hand over the blueprints entirely just yet.
Not just yet, no.
So wrapping this up, it's clear the AI landscape is incredibly dynamic right now. Just looking at this slice of recent news.
Yeah, from foundational agent tech and the hardware build-out to applications across healthcare, industry, finance, and all the societal and ethical questions that come with it.
The speed is really something. And the ambition from companies like Microsoft, Nvidia, OpenAI, and others to push these boundaries.
It definitely is pushing boundaries.
Which leads to a final thought, really, for you listening. With AI becoming more autonomous, more agentic, and weaving itself deeper into everything, what implications should we really be paying attention to?
Both the opportunities and, well, the potential challenges.
Exactly. What stands out most to you as these trends accelerate? Definitely something to keep thinking about as we watch this unfold.